Welcome to a new era, where compact size meets expansive comfort, where sleek style harmonizes with ample storage. Introducing the nuCamp Tab 360, a game changer in teardrop camping. This is a camper that redefines the teardrop camping experience. Join me today for a hybrid walkthrough/review of the new Tab 360 based on my 1 month in the prototype unit and almost 3,000 miles of travel. Stay tuned and step into the future of teardrop camping on this week's episode of Tab Talk. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jen Grover, and I've been a Tab owner since 2014 when I bought my first Tab, a 2015 Tab 320. When the 2021 model year came out in 2020, I upgraded to that model, and I'm also a brand ambassador for nuCamp for the Tab 320. Early this spring, when I was chatting with the marketing team at nuCamp, we realized that my trip this year was going to coincide very nicely with the release of the prototype for the brand new Tab 360. So we were both excited for me to take it out, put it through its paces, and send some feedback to nuCamp, as well as grab some photos in iconic locations. This is going to be a bit of a hybrid between a walkthrough and a review, so it won't be entirely either one, but I hope that you'll find it helpful. I am going to show you a lot of the features, a lot of the bells and whistles, answer some questions that I think people will ask based on feedback I've seen out in the groups. I also will be sharing my thoughts on what it's like to actually camp and live in a 360 for over a month. I'll start the video by walking around the outside, the exterior of the camper. I'll talk a little bit about what's included in the Boondock package and the difference between that and the Classic. I'll also share about one of the optional packages that this camper has, the Black Canyon package. Then I'll move inside, and on the inside I'll show you the storage, the kitchen, the bathroom, and we'll talk a bit about the lithium package. I can't wait to show you this camper, so let's jump right in. Now, one thing that would be easy to miss and overlook, but I want to point out, is that in this beautiful design, nuCamp has managed to retain the classic teardrop shape that we all love in the Tab 320. So in addition to being taller, a little bit wider, and a little bit longer, it still looks like a classic teardrop. I tow the Tab 360 with a Jeep Grand Cherokee L Overland Edition. This has a tow capacity of 6,200 pounds. And I'm not going to go deep into what it's like to tow with this. I will answer questions about that on my live stream on Monday, August 26th. And if you don't make that live stream, you can watch the replay. But I do want to tell you that if you're looking at a tow vehicle for a Tab 360, a vehicle with a 3,500 pound tow capacity is going to be pushing the limits. The dry weight on this is going to be somewhere between 2,600 and 2,800 pounds. I'm not going to give you exact specs because the exact specs have not been finalized by nuCamp yet. But the reason that 3,500 pound tow capacity might be pushing the limits is because of the tongue weight limits on your tow vehicle. A lot of times you're at 300, 350 pounds for tongue capacity, and this is going to be pushing it probably closer to 350 to 400, maybe even a little over 400. So that's something very important for you to consider when you're picking the right tow vehicle for this particular camper. Now, on the exterior, we're going to start the rear on the passenger side. And like most nuCamp campers, you're going to find dual 110 volt outlets, which is great for recharging devices when you're on the go. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the Boondock package. This is a Boondock package, and Boondock is the default package from nuCamp unless the Classic is ordered. Now, what the Boondock package gives you is the raised axle, the pitched axle, aggressive off-road tires, these nice fenders, sturdy grab handle, and a sturdy step. I love having the extra ground clearance because I do some remote camping and go down forest roads where a little more clearance is a nice thing. But that's not the only reason I like the Boondock package. The extra clearance really comes in handy when you've got a dip in a road. I've seen sometimes, especially in the West, where they get a lot of rain at once and it tends to flood. They build these sort of channels in. I've seen that in Nebraska, and they can create quite big dips. So having the extra clearance is really nice, or when you're going into a gas station that seems to have a steep entrance, things like that. Really love having the clearance. I also love having a really sturdy handle and step. This step does have these little holes drilled through, I'm guessing to save weight, so I do put a little rug on it, just so Rocky's paw doesn't get caught. One thing that's hard to miss when you look at the outside of this tab is that it has this beautiful storage container that goes almost the full width of the front. There's some exciting features about this. It's not just a big tub. First of all, it has separate access to the propane, and that makes it easy to turn the propane on and off. But that also means that the front lid is able to be locked, which previously nuCamp was unable to install a lock, because you always need, in order to meet RVIA standards, you need to be able to access the propane in the event of emergency. So now it's got this nice cam lock, great handle. Of course, the rubber latches provide additional security and just a massive amount of storage space. One of the great features is that in addition to the big storage space, there's a special dedicated long, narrow compartment that's separate from the rest of the tub and accessible on both sides, that gives you access to store something like maybe a flagpole for your Starlink. But what I use it for is sewer hose storage. I've got a 25-foot Camco Rhinoflex hose in there, as well as the donut that goes on the end of the hose. It's awesome. Two other small details that 320 owners will really appreciate. One, the safety chains. The safety chains are black, so they look better, but they're also shorter, so you don't have to find a way to shorten them either with quick links or some other method. Secondly, there's actually a holder for your 7-pin cable to keep it dry and to keep it out of the way. Coming around to the side, we see the access door for the cassette toilet. Now, both the cassette toilet door access and the Nautilus water system door are lockable. I don't lock my cassette door. I'm not really concerned about people stealing my cassette. I don't think that's the first thing people are going to want to steal. It's like your sewer hose. I don't think people are going to want to steal that either. And if they do, they probably have issues that I'd probably be okay with it. But the cassette toilet is in here. You just pull it out, take it and dump it. I've got a whole video on emptying a cassette toilet if you're unfamiliar with it, and I will put a link to that up here. But the cassette toilet, it's really grown on me over the last 4 years. I'm boondocking. I simply find a pit toilet and dump it in the pit toilet, which there are a ton of out in this area where I'm boondocking right now. So I do love it. I know there are those who don't. It's a matter of preference. If this is a deal breaker for you, I don't know what to say. It's really not that big of a deal from my personal perspective. Now, toward the back, we have the outlet for your 30 amp power cord, so you can plug into shore power. And then we have the Nautilus compartment. And the Nautilus compartment is basically the brains of your water operation. It's where you fill from city water, where you siphon if you're filling from a water jug for your freshwater tank. It's where you set the components to winterize. There's no longer an Aldi bypass. If you have an older tab with an Aldi bypass, it's all done right from the Nautilus. In addition to your water controls, you've got an external wash station out here. And I've got to tell you, this new water station, if you've got an older tab, is pretty remarkable. You get really good water pressure. It's super easy to use, and it conveniently stores right inside here. I'll also say there is a port for solar here. It's right up here. And then I had nuCamp install a Ethernet port, pass-through port for my Starlink. Let me mention something else about this Nautilus compartment. If you're connecting to cable TV or a TV antenna, the coax connections are also right inside. And this is also a good time to talk about the Black Canyon package. The Black Canyon package is an optional package that sort of extends the season for shoulder season camping and gives you a boost when it comes to dry camping or boondocking. And some of the ways it does that is through tank heaters. So your tanks are heated and the tank heater switches are right in here. There's also a water pump switch inside of the Nautilus compartment. In addition, the Black Canyon package is going to give you 2 190-watt solar panels on the roof. Of course, all nuCamp campers now come with solar on the roof, but The Black Canyon gives you a little more solar, which is really nice. The other thing I really like about the Black Canyon edition is that it does have these undercarriage red lights, which might seem a little gimmicky. I've heard people say it keeps the rodents away. I don't know if that's true. I haven't been able to find a study that proved that, but I have heard people say it. It's like the Irish Spring soap myth that you hear. Is there truth to it? It's hard to disprove a myth like that, but I couldn't find a study that proved that to be true. What I do know is it provides some nice illumination without ruining your night vision. If you go to a dark sky park, you can't use any lights unless you've got red lights on. And that's the beauty of the Boondock undercarriage lighting. The Black Canyon package, coupled with the lithium package, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, really does make this camper a bit of a boondocking beast. Now, here I am at the rear of the camper, and you're going to notice this huge stargazer. We're going to talk about the stargazers more once we get inside. But it also has that same beautiful plastic molding on the back that I fell in love with when they introduced the Tab 400, and then they brought to the Tab 320 when they did the 2021 model redesign. It's got a nice departure angle back here, and you've got these very retro modern looking taillights, brake lights, if you're unfamiliar with it. You also may have noticed on the side and on the back here, cameras. And I've got a camera on each marker light as well as the rear. That doesn't come automatically with the camper, but it is an aftermarket modification that the nuCamp Service Center can do for you. I absolutely love it. I did a full review on it. I love it not just when I'm camping, because it does give you visibility if things go bump in the night on a nice 7-inch monitor, but it also gives you visibility when you're driving behind you. I feel so confident now when I have to switch lanes in an urban area because of this camera system. It really works great. So that was a quick view of the outside of this camper. Are you ready to go inside? Let's go. I do want to mention something about the lights before I move inside. If you have a Tab 320 or 400, there have been people who don't like that this step light is on all the time. Well, on the 360, they've changed that. So the porch light and the step light are all wired to the same switch. So the step light only comes on when the porch light is on. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is this door. And that is because there has been a glitch in the supply chain for the doors with this keyless lock. The 360 will come with a keyless lock, does have a key as well, with a keypad. You can operate it from an app, but not right now. Right now, the door is the same door that's on the Tab 400, and that will change sometime next year. If you buy a 360 now and really want this door with this lock, you will be able to buy the door as an aftermarket upgrade. But the door that comes with the 360 right now will be the 400 door. This keyless lock is super nice. Sometimes you accidentally leave a key behind, or maybe the other partner has the key. This allows you to get in through either a mobile app on your phone, which works great, or the keypad. The other thing I will say is, compared to the 320, this door does feel a little more solid. Now, this is a prototype, so when we look on the inside of the door, you're not going to see the normal storage and hooks and things like that that you would find on the inside of a Tab door. That will come when they're in production, and those who've received it have already seen that. When the new 360 door arrives next year, you'll have those same nice amenities on the inside of the door. But with a prototype, it's just to make sure it fits, so it doesn't have those things. Let's go inside. Well, welcome inside the Tab 360. I'll be honest, when I first saw the Tab 360, my reaction was wow. And there were two main reasons, actually three. One, the windows. I love the Stargazer windows. As somebody who spends a lot of time inside for work, I love how it brings the outside in. And you know, it's not just work. I spent a week with COVID, and it was great. I laid in bed and watched the clouds pass over the Stargazer window, and I really felt like I was partly outside. I also love it in the morning. Like, this remote campsite I'm at is a little too people-y, as my cousin Mary would say, because it's a weekend, and I wanted to enjoy my coffee without interacting with anybody this morning. So I made my coffee inside and just sat and enjoyed the views from my windows. So The Stargazer windows and the huge side windows are just amazing. Windows are just amazing to me. Now, if there are a couple things that help with privacy, I know that might be a concern with all the windows. Number one, they're tinted. So during the day, you really can't see inside these windows. We've tested it, and it does provide you with a lot of privacy. I also like that when I take a picture, the windows are tinted because it's a neutral density filter or sunglasses for your camera, so that's nice. You also have these nice privacy shades that really block out the light nicely. And if you want to open the window and let air in, you just lower the screen. And every one of these windows has these dual, except for the porthole window in the bathroom, which does not open. So you've got two Stargazer windows, one in the front, one in the back, two huge side windows, and then a porthole window in the bathroom, and then a small oblong window on the door. The second thing that was very appealing to me about the 360 right off the bat is the height. As somebody who's about 5'9", the 320 sometimes felt a little claustrophobic from a height perspective. And it had an open floor plan, which I always loved about the 320. You could seat a lot of people in a 320. But the height was a limiting factor. I could stand up in the front right by the stove, but after that it was ducking. I could never stand to take a shower. In the 360, I can stand up all the way back to about here, and I can stand up to take a shower for the first time in 10 years in my camper. So I absolutely love the height in this camper. It's just remarkable. And then the third thing that really stuck out to me is the storage. Now, I'm not going to open every space because it would just take too long and nobody wants to see all that. But you've got two large cupboards on the driver's side. Now, one is occupied by the microwave if you choose to get a microwave. You've got an open space next to the two large overhead spaces, and those spaces have shelves in them that you can remove or change the height of based on your needs. In the open space, I have things like my raincoat, my rain pants, my puffer jacket that all pack into pockets so they store nicely. And you'll find, I'll show you in a minute, but you'll find I use packing cubes for all my clothes. So I have some extra clothes, I have some washcloths, all in packing cubes over there. Then on the passenger side, we have another big overhead storage space. And again, I have actually most of my clothes up there. And then the open space I use for books and miscellaneous things like my camera charger, lens wipes, bear spray, little things like that. Coming back here, you've got a nightstand and everything I need for night, like charging cables, my little stand for my phone, things like that. My overhead fan remote control, my TV remote control, all go in this nice little nightstand. But it actually leads me to one thing that I absolutely love about this camper, and that is you have a place to set things down. In the 320, you had the table and then the table. That was pretty much it. So you've got a nightstand, you've got a ledge at the foot of the bed on top of that little storage area. You've got the ledge that's behind the dinette. You have a pretty big amount of storage space behind this back dinette. And then behind the stove and sink is a good size ledge to store things as well. So in addition to the built-in storage drawers and cupboards, you've got places to set things. And you'll see I have a couple of little fake plants spread around because it just makes it a little more homey. So that's another nice component of the 360. Right here on the 360, and this does have the lithium package, is a distribution panel. When you have a lithium package, the work of the converter is done by the Victron Multiplus, which is over under the bed. But this is the distribution panel where your fuses are and where your circuits are should they trip. Directly below me is the air conditioning unit. And let me talk for a minute about the air conditioning unit. It is a Truma Sapphire, which means it's integrated into the Alda control panel. Truma makes Alda and the Sapphire. So the Alda is your heat and hot water system, which is an amazing system. They actually put the newest compact Alda unit in this 360. It's the Alda 3030. and the control panel is greatly improved. Everything is much more intuitive, and it looks a lot more modern, to be quite honest. The air conditioner is also integrated into that panel. The air conditioner is forced air, like you need air conditioning to be, with vents that go into the bathroom. You've got a vent down here, actually behind the nightstand, behind my plant, and you've got a vent over by the dinette and the entry door. So very convenient. One nice thing about the Sapphire is it is quieter, especially outside the camper, than the Elwell Air 8. So I've really enjoyed it. It's done a great job in super hot weather, and I'm very excited about it. There is a change between production and prototype on a few different things, one of which is the storage under this seat in the dinette that's closest to the door. In the prototype, it's a drawer, and I keep all of Rocky's food, his coats, his brushes, combs, treats, all in that drawer. I love having space for Rocky's stuff that's all out of the way. It was getting a little out of control in the 320, so I've really enjoyed that. In the production unit, however, it's not a drawer, but there still is storage there. It's a little cubby, so if you wanted to tuck your feet under that seat, you could, providing a little more room. I don't think that's a huge deal that it's not a drawer. It's going to be easy to access and still provide the storage that you would want. Where I'm sitting is the dinette that also converts to the secondary bed. The primary bed is on the driver's side. It's 80 inches long, 30 inches wide. On the secondary bed, it's 78 inches long, 30 inches wide. So people ask me, is that big enough? And Rocky and I have plenty of room. It's 80 inches. I'm 5'10", so 5'9". I've got plenty of room. Rocky's got plenty of room. We've been very comfortable. Because I am a bit like the Princess and the Pea, I am using a 4-inch memory foam cooling mattress topper. This dinette easily converts. I'm not going to show you how to do that because I've never done it, quite honestly, and I know a lot of people won't. But there are videos out there that show you how to convert it. It looks super easy. I will say the one thing I just noticed like last week was that this table actually slides. So if I'm working, I can pull it closer, or if I need more space, I can push it away. I really like that a lot. I love having a table where I can eat and work and not have to worry about swinging it around or moving it. I do a lot of food prep on this table too. I even will plug in my air fryer on the table and cook on there. Or I have a nice silicone mat I put over the glass top on the stove sink combo unit and put the air fryer there to cook. So I do use the air fryer quite a bit in this camper. I know that won't surprise those of you who know me. The stove is a little on the compact size, so you can't use huge pots and pans. I don't use huge pots and pans anyway. And truthfully, if you're a 320 owner, you're not going to notice a huge difference in the galley kitchen. It might be a little bit smaller, but it's negligible if you're coming from a Tab 320. I've heard some complaints about the single glass top cover. And, couldn't nuCamp do this? Couldn't nuCamp do that? The truth is, I don't know what they can and can't do. But if I were to guess, I would guess that it might be difficult to find individual dual burner stove and sink that would fit in that spot. I think it might also be difficult to find a split top glass cover at scale. And it's easy for an owner to think of a mod. And quite honestly, it's easier and probably cheaper for the consumer to do a mod than it would be for nuCamp. I'm sure nuCamp is always looking for a different option, and should one be available, I can't think of a manufacturer who's quicker to implement customer feedback. So I would imagine at some point that could happen. But if that's your concern, I've got to tell you, I've cooked on the stove, I've cooked in the air fryer. I have not found it that big of a deal. Could it be a little more convenient? Yeah, probably. But I will say the 5 cubic foot fridge is amazing. When I gave people tours at Keystone State Park in Pennsylvania for the Ohio-Pennsylvania Tabs and Friends, overwhelmingly people love the big fridge, and I do too. I used to travel with a Dometic fridge freezer, big 75-quart, 75-pound unit in my car to keep my food, extra food, cold and frozen. I don't have to do that with the 360. I left that at home and am just using the fridge freezer. in the 360. So I know not everybody's going to love that setup, but if you're like me and cook outside, or cooking isn't the main attraction to your camping, then that's not a huge deal. If cooking is the main attraction, you can still cook outside. That's what a lot of people do anyway. You know, the tab community especially attracts a lot of people who are tent campers or people who prefer to be outside. We don't have, 30-foot long campers with fireplaces because we're outdoor people for the most part. We like that minimalist lifestyle. And with any 17-foot camper, there are going to be trade-offs. So for me, my first reaction was, why didn't they go with a smaller fridge and give you more counter space? But after having this fridge, I absolutely love it, and I'm glad they made the choice that they did. Coming to the front of the camper, you can see I have the lid closed, which I often do. One of the reasons is, with the additional height in the bathroom, I find I can wash my hands very easily in the sink in the bathroom. I never use the sink in my 320, and I didn't realize it until I had the 360. It was the height. So I do love the height in this camper. Here's the additional storage space I was talking about. I've got Rocky some treats, some dish soap, all up here. It is a pretty spacious spot with a great view with the stargazer. I love being able to look at the views while I'm making my meal. I also have, at my friend Steve's suggestion, actually come up here and worked, set my laptop up here so I could stand just for, my body, give it a little rest and get a different change of scenery. So I do like this open, airy space. Over here, you see there's the Jensen Cube right here. The Jensen Cube is the stereo system, and it has a HDMI in, which I use when I'm connecting my computer. There's a little drawer underneath. This little drawer is where I put my hairdryer. And then there's another storage drawer down here where I have, of course, packing cubes with my clothes. Do have a little storage space. I have a koozie in here. This is a drawer, and you can see I've got measuring cups and some cooking utensils in here. Silverware drawer. I keep my air fryer down here. Now this pantry drawer is not as organized as I would like it to be, because this is, temporary, but you can see you can put a ton of stuff in this pantry drawer. And then you've got nice shelves down here, and these are deep. You can put a lot of stuff down there. Really love it. Up here's yet another cabinet. I keep plates and bowls and garbage bags up there. Don't judge too harshly. This is a lived-in camper. A couple things that I'll just mention that are different for me. One is this fan. Now, the Tab 360 comes with a 3-speed reversible fantastic fan, which is a great fan. But I have grown to love the 10-speed Max Air fan. It has a rain sensor. You can leave it running while it's raining. You can actually close it and run it and use it like a ceiling fan, a circulation fan. So I love the fantastic fan. Another thing that's different is this. The Tab 360 comes with a smart TV. It's a big upgrade from what the TVs that have come in Tabs in the past. Very much more modern. But for work, I needed something slightly larger, higher resolution. So I have a smart monitor that nuCamp installed for me. I will say, I really debated about using the smart TV because it was such an improvement. But at the end of the day, I'm getting to an age where I need better visibility. So I went with the smart monitor. I'm up here at the front. I'm going to show you a couple things that I've done. I added a paper towel holder, and this actually has a spring on it so it doesn't unroll while you're traveling. Absolutely love this. It's held up with command tape. Absolutely great decision to do that, and this is the perfect spot for it. I added a 3M command hook. I've got a hat here. I've got a coat, and I love that. You can also see as we come around, if I move my coat and hat, if you look here, you've got the light switches for the porch. You've got your water pump switch. You've got your sink and accent lighting. And then you've got your tank monitors right here. The Alda panel is located right below the light switches. And then if you have the Black Canyon package, the undercarriage light switch is right here. I haven't mentioned this yet, but you do have a lot of outlets in this camper. Here's a 110, a USB, USB-C. If I come around here, you've got a 110 outlet, USB, and 12 volt in the kitchen. An extra 110 outlet below the TV. Below the dinette seat in the rear, you've got 110 outlets. And then in the back, on each side of the nightstands, you've got USB and USB-C outlets. Let's talk for a second about the lighting in this camper. I think they've got it dialed in almost perfectly. You have an overhead light, which has a blue mode and in 3 levels of light. On each side of the camper, for each bed, you've got a reading light that has a white mode and a blue mode. And then you've got accent lights that go underneath and then in the back, as well as in the front under the hooks in the kitchen. And I love those hooks in the kitchen, so practical. Now, it's a great time to talk about the lithium package, and that also impacts the storage that's under the bed. All tabs come with a 100 amp hour lithium battery by default. If you're going to get a lithium package, though, in the 360, it's going to upgrade you to a 270 amp hour Battle-Born heated Game Changer battery. And that is super nice. I've been using that while I'm boondocking and really enjoying it. It also includes a smart shunt, a Victron Multi-Plus, and the Multi-Plus, I'll be honest, I didn't really see the value of it until I started camping with this camper. I had lithium installed on my 320 before nuCamp got into the lithium game, so I had a different brand, and I just, I had the upgraded converter so it would charge it at the right voltage, and then I added a inverter, but the Multi-Plus is a game changer. It has a 3,000 watt inverter, so you can power the AC, your microwave, air fryer, hair dryer, all sorts of things. It has the ability to charge much faster than a converter would charge it. And the great thing is you don't have to have it on all the time. So there's the Victron Connect app that can tell you how much solar you're getting on the roof, or if you're using the external port and you have a Victron controller like I do, you can network them, and that really works well. But you've also got the smart shunt to give you your battery, real-time battery reading. And then the Multi-Plus is also Bluetooth and operated through the app. And so today, for example, I'm boondocking and I don't need the inverter on because I'm not working. So I have the inverter off, saving power. But if I want to turn on the TV or if I want to plug in my computer to charge it, I just turn on the inverter right from the app. It has been amazing. You might be thinking, I would never use that, because to be honest, that's how I felt at first too. But I checked out of a campground at noon. I had a conference call at 1. I didn't have enough time to get to another spot. So what did I do? I found a parking lot where I could pull in. I turned on the inverter, flipped on the AC because it was 90 degrees, and took that call right from the camper in the parking lot off the battery. Now, can you run your air conditioner forever like that? No, you're going to get 3 or 4 hours and then your battery will be dead. But that 1 hour allowed me to do what I needed to do. The other thing that is a huge game changer is when it comes to my dear friend Rocky here. I do worry sometimes if I leave him behind that if there's a power outage, it will get hot quickly. With the Multi-Plus, you don't need shore power for the AC to keep going. And I have tested it. If you turn off the shore power, the AC keeps going. And if you're a pet owner, that is a huge peace of mind. What about the storage under the bed? Well, if you're getting the lithium package, that storage isn't going to be available. There's a new part they're putting in, I don't even know what it is, but that will take up that space and you won't be able to use it for storage. If you're not getting the lithium package, there is a small space where you can put things. I have a pair of like ankle boots and my small little vacuum cleaner that I keep in that storage spot. Before I head into the bathroom and show you that area, there's one other thing I want to mention, and it's because I've seen the questions come up a lot about the Stargazer windows. Do they get hot? Well, in a camper like this, any window is going to get hot. I learned that with my 320. The key is to keep the shades closed on the side of the camper that's getting heat. So where I am now in the morning, on the passenger side and sometimes the rear Stargazer, the shades get pulled. In the afternoon, the front stargazer and this side behind me gets closed. It's all a matter of just managing where the sun is, and it's really no different with a stargazer than it is the side window. Now, I thought about doing more staging in the bathroom to make it look a little less cluttered, but I decided I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm actually using it. So it's not perfect. Martha Stewart might shudder, but it's working for me. Let's go on. Side with this nice hook, and we start coming in with a nice bright bathroom. I've hung a command hook for my towel. You can see there is a toilet paper cover so your toilet paper doesn't get wet when you shower. There's also an Alda vent, so those cold mornings when you go to use the bathroom, no more. I put a little OXO drain cover over to help keep the hair out. It is a cassette toilet, like we mentioned, very similar to what's in the 320. Actually, it's exactly the same. And then we have the ledge behind the sink, which is a little more usable than it was in the 320. And you can see with the height, I'm going to pull out, it's quite different. In just a second, I'll go in so you can see what it looks like. I've also hung another command hook to put work shirts so they don't get wrinkled. And then the porthole window, in some places, I've been remote enough that I can actually leave this open, which I absolutely love. As you can see, I've got plenty of height inside the new bathroom. You might be wondering, where's the shower? Well, the shower simply comes out of the sink like this. Let me talk just for a second a bit more about height. My brother, who's almost he's 6'3", almost 6'4", really can't stand to be in my 320. He gets claustrophobic in about 30 seconds. He came into the 360, sat at this dinette, and said he couldn't believe how comfortable it was. He said, I could see how this would be much more comfortable than the 320. He said, I could spend time in a camper like this. So if you're taller, there is quite a bit of difference between this and the 320 from a comfort perspective. And he's not a small guy. He's a pretty big guy. So it was very comfortable for him. Now, last week, I started to see people taking delivery of their 360s, which is very exciting because that means I'm not going to be the only one sharing information. We're going to have other people sharing their real life experiences. I am thrilled to see that. I think they're going to fly off the dealer lots, quite honestly. It's the end of the season, so we'll really start to see that in the spring when people start buying their campers, maybe at the winter RV shows. The MSRP for this is about $44,000. Does that mean that's what you'll pay for it? It's hard to say. There are a lot of factors that go into cost. These are built in Sugar Creek, Ohio, so if you're on the West Coast, you probably should expect to pay above that because of shipping costs. And state taxes play a factor as well. nuCamp did sell out the first several months of these to dealer orders, so if you're going to buy one, the fastest way to get one is to go to a dealer lot and buy something they already have. I know some of my favorite dealers have been posting that they've got them on site, so I wouldn't take my time if I were you. I would run, not walk to your nearest dealer if you're seriously interested in a 360 or even just possibly interested, because they're not going to last long. I think that they're going to have a hard time keeping up with demand, is just my guess. It's a beautiful camper. When I first saw this, my reaction was there's not a sharp corner anywhere. It's just class oozes out of this camper. The cabinetry is beautiful. The lighting, stylish. The twin bed layout, game changing. And to be honest with you, as a solo camper, I finally feel like somebody understands my unique needs and a product represents that. But if you're a couple, don't let that dissuade you, because I've heard from plenty of couples how excited they are about this camper because they really want a twin bed layout. So I hope this review was helpful for you. I will be doing a live stream on Monday. That's tomorrow, the 26th. If you miss the live stream, you can catch the replay where I'll answer people's questions and I'll talk more about things like what's it like to tow this camper and the everyday life questions that people have. I'm curious, what is it that you are most excited about the new Tab 360, and what was your initial reaction? Honestly, the Tab 360 feels like the camper most of us never knew we needed. If you're a 320 owner, like me, and space was starting to feel a little tight sometimes because you overpacked or just your needs changed, but the 400 wasn't the right floor plan for you. When the 360 came out of seemingly nowhere, I was stunned and I thought, wow, I didn't even know I needed this, and this is exactly the camper for me. As a matter of fact, several people asked if they designed it for me because it seems to be such a great fit for me. I am in love with this camper. I think it's beautiful. It's ingenious, it's the way storage has been used and the integration of the Stargazer windows, and all without compromising the classic teardrop style and shape. I just absolutely think this camper is brilliant, and I think nuCamp is going to sell a lot of these campers. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking, and hopefully I'll be able to respond to some of those or maybe even hit some of those in the live stream. The best way to keep up with the additional content that I'm going to produce, like about boondocking and remote work and my live streams, is to subscribe to my channel and then click the little bell so that you're notified from YouTube when I post a new video. I also do offer a channel membership for people who want extra perks and early and increased access. So you can feel free to join the channel as well. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you next time.